here tonight. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Tonight, B'ezrat Hashem, we're going to learn Sipurey Maasios. We're starting in Yitz Hashem a new story. New story, new adventure. B'ezrat Hashem. We'll see where it actually leads us. I've found that the first Maisa, try to get it bigger so you can see it. All right, I'll just move a little bit to this side. Okay. This Maisa it's called Maisa Mechiger, a story from a cripple. Maisa b'chacham echad. This story is a story of a sage. Kodem Oisai, before he passed away, Kara es bonav u'mishpachtoi. He called his children and his family. V'tziva oisam, and he ordered them, he willed them, l'hashkos ilonos, to water trees. Gam yesh lachem reshus la'asok b'sh'ah parnasos. You also have permission to deal and be busy with other occupations. Aval bazeh tishtadlu, but on this you should put an emphasis. L'hashkos ilonos, to water trees. Achar kach niftach chacham v'hiniach bonim. Then the sage passed away and he left behind children, sons. That first sentence in or itself is an encapsulation of the duty of a person in this world. And in a sense, when we learned Maisa for the exchanged children, that ultimately reaching one's royal status, a revelation of a manifestation of one's destiny and greatness and grandeur, the conclusion that we came to was that when you reach a state where you aim to elevate the Shekhinah, which means you aim to increase the exposure of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in this world, because this is what the Shekhinah is. Because the HaKadosh Baruch Hu, as it were, is different than the way that he shows himself in this world, the way that is evident in this world. In this world, the HaKadosh Baruch Hu is hidden. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is only evident through his actions. He's unseen, but his actions and the results of his actions are evident. But Kadosh Baruch Hu in itself, he is everything. He is isness itself. So when we say that you have to elevate the Shekhinah, you have to be mal of the Shekhinah, you have to elevate the Shekhinah, it means that you have to increase the exposure of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in this world. Ultimately, when we say, that should be Ora Lavana ke Ora Chama, the light of the moon needs to equal the light of the sun. This is what we mean. Kadosh Baruch Hu is the sun is a euphemism for Kudsha Baruch Hu. In other words, the Kadosh Baruch Hu, the way he is in the creation, but not in this world. It's very important to understand that when we're talking about a Kadosh Baruch Hu, okay, we're talking about, Arizal says, we're talking about the Malchus, the very low end, the Nakuda from a Kadosh Baruch Hu. This is the Kadosh Baruch Hu in the creation. Not in this world. B'chlal, that's what we call Ein Sof, that's what we call infinity and eternity. And all this is a Nakuda, which is called Malchus the Malchus. Okay? The Kadosh Baruch Hu has specifically created, for this world. The Kadosh Baruch Hu himself, as it were, cannot even talked about. You couldn't even call him any name. The minute that we can call a Kadosh Baruch Hu a name, Hashem, Aleph Dal Nun Yud, Yud Kei Vav Kei, in all the other languages, God, or all these things, okay, this is already in the Bria. Kadosh Baruch Hu in his infinite mercy has created an infinity that we can at least relate to, that it's infinity. We need to expose this particular infinity in this world. Any kind of exposure, any kind of manifestation of a Kadosh Baruch Hu in this world is called Tikkun HaShechina, rectification of the Shechina, the elevation of the Shechina. There are two very important nakudas that one of them we touched upon in Sichas Haran on Moshe Shabbos, when we spoke about how one's wife is an Ezer Kenegdoi, that the wife is the one HaKadosh Baruch Hu has created to help a man against him, which means all her relationship, that which she agrees with, that which she disagrees with, this is the Ezer, this is the help for a person. And the one thing that we mentioned is that a woman has one particular attribute that is a mashal for Olam Haba and for the Shechina. And she has another attribute, which is an attribute of HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself. That's one of the reasons one would say that a woman doesn't say in the Birkas HaShachar, Baruch she'asani kirtzoinei, has created me in accordance to his will. Because a woman was created complete. A man says, Baruch she'asani isha, that I'm not a woman, I don't have to give birth, I can, sit and study Torah, whatever it is, but these are all comparative. A woman says, Shasani kirtsoinai, that he has made me identical to his will. Because the woman is created perfect. And these are the two things that of the perfection of the woman that a person needs to understand about his wife and realize how these attributes, which on the surface may look like you're looking down upon them, but you're really not, how they're actually identical to the will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So the first one we mentioned on Motzei Shabbos and Sichas Haran, that is the fact that a woman does not forget. That's it. Not the good stuff, and not the bad stuff. The only one who really knows you, as we said also, is your wife. Not even you. But she doesn't have the words to tell you. She doesn't have the ability to tell you. That spares you a lot of embarrassment. The second attribute, which may seem on the surface as if, as if we're like looking down and say, ha ha, but it's anything but. That is that a woman has ingrained in her the ability to be satisfied with what would seem like the most ridiculous excuse on earth. The most pathetic apology that you can think of, for the woman, it's okay. She can be bought off, quote unquote, with flowers. Mind you, you can deceive her. You cannot deceive her. This is why it was ingrained in her to accept ridiculous apologies. David HaMelech says to Kodesh Baruch Hu, he tried to offer him, he says, forgive me and so forth and so on. Kodesh Baruch Hu told him, what do you want from me? Go to the Sanhedrin. Go to the Beis Din. Let them acquit you. David HaMelech said, what seems, again, on the surface is the most ridiculous answer on earth. He says, I can't deal with Sanhedrin because they cannot accept a bribe. It's forbidden by the Torah. I can't bribe them, but I can bribe you. And he said, whoa, just a second. Just a moment there, Buster. What do you mean? You want to bribe a Kadosh Baruch Hu? What do you mean you're allowed to bribe a Kadosh Baruch Hu? The meaning is you're not allowed to bribe a human court. Because the minute you bribe them, you blind them. Bribe blinds the eyes of the wise. We learned it in Torah base. That's the B'gam HaMishpat, is in Shoichad. It blinds the eyes. It means that the minute that the Dayan gets a bribe, it's not that he is just inclined to judge in your favor. He's no longer available, he's no longer able to judge you truly. His entire point of view changes. The way he sees the world changes. he can no longer judge you favorably. I mean, fairly, you know what I mean? Fairly. Masha'en ken HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You can't hide anything from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You can hide things from Beis Din. The way that you present your word, the way that your lawyer presents the word, the kind of witnesses you bring, the kind of question you ask, you're forming the opinion of the court. The court has no way to know what they don't see. That's why it is forbidden to bribe them. Because that which they do see, if they bribe, they won't be able to see that either. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees everything and knows everything. There's no way to present witnesses and to hide things. Everything is open. David HaMelech is coming to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and he's telling him, listen, I fouled up. Each and every one of us. I fouled up. There's nothing I can do. I have to be able to bribe you. Because unless I can bribe you, I'm toast. That's it. It's finished. I can't excuse myself because you know everything. I can't hide behind anything because you know everything. The only way, shape, or form I can actually wiggle my way out of trouble is if I'm allowed to bribe you. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has created a reality in which he is bribable. The way you bribe, we spoke about it for Shoshana. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is bribable, as it were, with shiras v'tishbachas, with all the piyutim that we sing. All these things are kaviyachol bribes. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu has a nod from them. Or bring korbanos because we're trying to give HaKadosh Baruch Hu nachas ruach. We are openly bribing HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has created the world in a state in which he is, as it were, bribable. Because otherwise we're finished. There's no excuse. There's nothing you can do. Might as well stick the fork in us, right? We're done. What can you do? Unless there was an out for accepting a bribe. The woman has that trait. It's not that she doesn't see what the truth is. The same way HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows what the truth is, Kaviyachol, your wife knows exactly what you're about. But she is constructed, milchatchila, to accept bribes. In the language of women, it's called cute. He's cute. You're cute. It does not mean what you think. What a man thinks that something is cute, that's not what a woman means. When she says that you're cute, means the bribe worked. You haven't fooled her for a second. I'll never forget, many years ago, my wife went through a procedure. She was in a hospital. For 2 days, I did not come to visit. It's like the day after and the day after, I did not come to visit. No excuse, all right? When I came to the hospital, so my wife was put together in a room, I think it was in Maimonides, or maybe it was in Hadassah, I'm not sure, but she was in the same room with an Arab woman. You couldn't get further apart. Jewish woman, firm Jewish woman, Arab woman, you know, with the hijab, whatever you want to call it, whatever it is. So I didn't know, how am I going to show my face? So I went to the gift shop I don't know, where is it? I don't know where it is. I hope to find it. I got a stuffed toy. It's like, I don't know if it's an orangutan or a gorilla, but it's redhead, and it's about like 4 feet tall. It's a big thing, all right? And I came into the room. When I stepped through the door and I showed my face next to this thing, both women, the Arab and the Jew, they burst out laughing. I thought they were going to fall off their beds. In other words, it's an international language. Both women knew exactly what was going on. My wife on the spot realized how embarrassed I was, what the apology was all about, and the sight of me with this monkey, this huge monkey, was so ridiculous. It was cute. That's it. She was bribed. Kadosh Baruch Hu has made himself in this world in such a manner so we have a chance to survive, to be quote unquote bribable, to think that we are cute. I once described it rather bluntly, when it comes to women, that men and dogs are the only creatures in the world that can look cute and stupid at the same time. It's built in. There's nothing you can do. And that's the thing that charms them. When we come to Kadosh Baruch Hu b'tmimus, bribing him, as it were, b'shir b'tishbachas, b'tmimus, you can't hide anything from him. He is built, quote unquote, he has built himself to accept bribes. You got a living presence that reminds you of this in your wife. She never forgets, and she will accept a bribe if it's offered in good faith. We, sophisticated men, you call that an apology? It's like the sorriest apology on the face of the earth. If you try to offer a man such an apology, he'll throw you from all the stairs. That's because we're smart, right? Well, your wife knows exactly what the truth is, and she is built to accept bribes. Baruch Hashem, otherwise we'll be finished. We'll have no hope, because we're incorrigible. So we said that ultimately what we need to do is we need to build the koimes Shechina in this world. Building koimes Shechina entails, quote unquote, bribing a Kadosh Baruch Hu. What does it mean? It means giving a Kadosh Baruch Hu nachas ruach. This is the elevation of the rows on the chair from the exchange children at the end, from the bottom to the top. This is the elevation of the Shechina. And it's done by your chair, which means your status, your money, what you think of yourself, whatever it is. Ultimate goal, lift the rows from the bottom to put it on the top. The same thing with your bed, the same thing with your table. These are things that are getting even more and more and more intimate. Because breaking taivas achila is almost like the last barrier before you actually get to Chokhmah. It's usually the last taiva that the person actually gets to deal with. It's even harder than the taiva yadua. The taiva yadua has a very clear cut, what you should do, what you can't do. This is supposed to do, this you're not supposed to do, this you're supposed to think, this you're not supposed to think. It's pretty, pretty clear cut. When it comes to food, it's much more subtle. But it's kosher. It happens to be Wagyu beef, that costs, I don't know, $100 a pound or whatever. But it's kosher. It's kosher l'mehadrin. Tavas Achila is already the kodesh within the kodesh. That's the pure within the pure. That's the holy within the holy. It's only when you finally get to rectify Taivas Achila that you actually get to rectify the menorah, the lamp, which is the seichel. Here in this story, we begin with, okay, how do you actually do it? The Chacham summarized it all by telling his children, this is how you elevate the rose from the bottom to the top. The easiest way to do it is to water trees. Trees represents neshamas. Trees represent the other, somebody else. It could be your wife, it could be your children. It is your wife, it is your children, it is your neighbors, it is the people in the street, the people that you know and the people you don't know. The way that you get into Avodas Hashem is you water the trees. Water trees means two things. First of all, obviously, to mekayim and to Kadosh Baruch Hu. Because like water gives life to a tree, without water it will die. Same thing is you need to water. There's certain neshamas in your life which you need to water, you need to feed, you need to give them life. We learned in the Kutam Aran, try to sort of like encapsulate everything that we learned, because by Rabbeinu, everything ultimately is one thing. We said that when the neshama that is the source of Chidush Torah passes away, it causes strife, and the people start arguing with the tzaddikim. Why? Because they're not getting the sustenance, the life that they need, which is Torah, which is water. So a person can be married and lavish upon his wife and children all the money in the world. And they're starving. They're starving. Because that's not the kind of life that they need. Yeah, you need money. Obviously, everybody needs money. But money cannot be a substitute for anything. The second thing of watering trees is besides giving them what they need, on a day-to-day basis, there's also the Indian that people, Rabbeinu says, that people who go around in this world and they go through tremendous yisurim, tremendous suffering, and they have nobody to unload to or before or whatever, what they have in their hearts. And they are so broken. And if you come and you smile at them, you water them, you are giving them life, literally giving them life. This is the first step that encapsulates the entire Indian of how you get into Avodas Hashem. You're also allowed to deal with other occupations, allowed to do other things. But ultimately, if you want to elevate the Shekhinah, you want to bring it up, the way to do it is water trees, give to others, be busy with giving to others. Watch what you're thinking. When you're going to shul, you're going on the street or whatever it is, and you look at people without masks or whatever it is, and you may or may not say anything, but in your heart you go, it is them. They're the culprits. Can't believe it. The mask is supposed to be worn on the nose, not on the chin. Definitely on the top of your head. Doesn't do any good in your pocket. And you don't say anything. You may go and you see somebody who is, shall we say, not the sharpest tool in the shed. And you feel like, something, what have I got with him? I mean, please. Well, he's a step or two above a Puerto Rican. What do you want from my life? I said, come on, man. I mean, he's stupid with capitals too. It's ridiculous. If you stop for a minute, you realize that this is an neshama. This is a neshama. A complete neshama. That was giving these particular tools in order to complete its destination, its destiny. To be born with this kind of intellect, this kind of philosophical, of political philosophy, this kind of whatever it is, when the children may be louder and the wife is like this and that is like that. And you realize that he is as complete a saga, an epic, as you are. Rabbeinu says, as we learned, a person is supposed to lower himself and diminish himself before people who are greater than him, people that are his level, and people that are smaller than him, and even smaller than himself. He says, even if he's like the smallest of the small, even less than he actually is. So be aware. What are the thoughts that come into your head? Look at them. Look at them. Look at them. Look at the garbage on the street, man. People, they live like animals. They don't clean the streets. Why don't they teach their children to clean after themselves? Because the way we are, that is called enlightenment, man. This is enlightenment. This means being cultured, means Jewish and cultured. But them, they're going without masks. Oh, look at, they're living in filth. Oh. If you think this is filth, you haven't been to Calcutta lately. But the point is that that thing that you're worried about from the outside, how the streets look, that's Western culture. That takes, appearance over substance. These people may be, and probably are, 1,000,000 times holier than me. From the get-go. And then they go up. Yeah, but look at the yard, look at the dirt, look at the children standing there gawking at it. People never taught them not to stare at strangers. Passing judgment on other people. It's an ego. It's an ego. It's an opportunity for avodas Hashem. You catch yourself thinking that, stop. Remind yourself, what is really going on here? Am I really better than they are? Or is it I'm looking at it from the point of view of my cultural sophistication and therefore condemning them to who the heck they are? Come on. Main thing is water trees. Give chayas to somebody else. If they feel an inferiority before you, smile at them. Smile at them. Don't play, don't play games. It happens to be that they feel that you are smarter than they are, that you're somehow on a higher plane than they are, or whatever it is that their particular inferiority complex may lead them. It's not your business. They feel that way, so shine to them. Great smile. They need money, give them money. If you have, help out. Make them feel great. Make somebody else feel great means watering the trees. You're allowed to do other things too. You're allowed to work, you're allowed to this, you're allowed to learn, you're allowed to whatever it is, but the main thing, water trees. This, my friends, B'ezrat Hashem, will conclude the first shir of Maaseh Mechiga. We have actually went through two lines of the story. B'ezrat Hashem, we will continue next week.